Chaos on the Court. I'm Rebecca Lieb.
I'm Jason Horton.
And this is Ghost Town.
On November 19th, 2004, one of the most notorious events in NBA history unfolded at the Palace of Auburn Hills in Michigan during a game between the Indiana Pacers and the Detroit Pistons. The brawl, known as the Malice at the Palace, went far beyond a typical on-court scuffle and had a lasting impact on the league's culture, security protocols, and player-fan relationships. Now, I had this ready to go. This has been in our Google Doc for a while, but it gets brought up when discussing the Yankees-Dodgers games when a Yankee fan tried to take the ball away from Mookie Betts, I think, and people will reference the crowning jewel of chaos in a sports event as Malice in the Palace. Am I clairvoyant in that sense? Yes.
You're an oracle.
The game itself was heading towards a routine conclusion, with the Pacers leading the Pistons 97-82 with less than a minute left. A hard foul by Indiana's Ron Artest, later known as Metta World Peace. Now I think he's changed his name again. On Detroit's Ben Wallace triggered an initial confrontation. Wallace, upset by the foul, retaliated by shoving Artest, which led to a brief but intense on-court altercation between both teams. Things escalated when Artest attempted to de-escalate and lay down on the scorer's table. However, that decision would prove disastrous. A fan from the crowd, later identified as John Green, threw a drink at Artest, striking him in the chest. In a flash, Artest charged the stands, leading to a chaotic brawl between players and fans. Fellow Pacer Steven Jackson joined Artest in the stands. The situation spiraled out of control as multiple players, fans, and even security guards got involved, where players like Jermaine O'Neal were seen throwing punches at fans who had stormed the floor.
You can get a punch from your favorite player that night. What an unforgettable experience.
In the immediate aftermath of the brawl, the NBA took swift and severe action. Commissioner David Stern announced that Ron Artest would be suspended for the rest of the season, which is 73 regular season games and the playoffs, the longest suspension for an on-court incident in NBA history.
You can't just go jump a fan and hit them in the face. You can't do that.
I think yes, that is true, but I think there's a thing where other sports where, fans starting things and fans starting fights and throwing punches too, and the players really have no recourse except to sit there and take it. I think
but they're like professional athletes. They have an advantage. And again, I wasn't there. I also can't believe that you're not talking about the Pistons, that they didn't do this.
Yeah.
That's surprising to me. But it's like they're these like huge athletes, and it's like some fucking drunk guy throwing a drink, and it's like, well, these professional like celebrity athletes are gonna crush them too.
Yeah.
It's a little unfair. I don't know.
Jermaine O'Neal for 25 games, later reduced to 15, and Ben Wallace for 6 games. In total, 9 players faced suspensions, and several fans faced criminal charges, including the fan who threw the cup at Artest. And more after the break. The legal consequences extended beyond the court. 5 players were charged with assault and eventually sentenced to a year of probation and community service. Several fans also faced charges for their involvement. Lawsuits flew in all directions, with both players and fans seeking damages for injuries sustained during the chaos. The Malice at the Palace forced the NBA to reconsider its relationship with fans and address the player conduct. One of the immediate effects was revamping the league's security policies. The NBA introduced stricter controls for fan behavior, which is probably
that's really where
that's already
the root of it
should have been there.
Yeah,
increasing security presence at games and establishing clear boundaries between players and the audience. The incident also led to a shift in the league's image. At the time, the NBA was criticized for its so-called quote-unquote thug culture, a stereotype that unfairly targeted black players.
Yeah, racist.
Stern, in response, implemented a dress code requiring players to wear business casual attire when engaging with the public, a controversial move aimed at distancing the league from its perception.
Yeah, that seems
the NBA
awkward.
really kind of has like a really, at least at that time, like the way they handled things in the way like in baseball, like people were just getting away with things like left and right, which is also not good.
Yeah.
But also, the the players are kind of left like, what if it's not a drink? What if it's a
Yeah.
rock? What if
Yeah.
what if that, Mookie Betts got his, arm ripped out of his socket,
Yeah.
trying to get the ball. And then it's just like, well, man, you just have to deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just picturing a 7-foot tall world-class athlete in like a sport coat having to like engage with fans that way. It feels not right.
The Malice at the Palace remains one of the most talked about events in sports history. Its footage is repeatedly played in documentaries and sports retrospectives, including the critically acclaimed 2021 Netflix documentary, Untold, Malice at the Palace.
Ooh. I was thinking about the 30 for 31 about the Pistons, and I think they have some footage of that in there too. And again, how the Pistons look like little angels.
This is the one, if you want like on-court chaos. That documentary provided fresh insights for those directly involved. You got some time to think about it. It's almost 20 years.
Any regrets?
The incident also influenced discussions about fan behavior and security measures across all major league sports. While many view the Malice at the Palace as a dark moment for the NBA, it also served as a turning point in how the league handles player conduct and fan interaction. Today, the brawl is remembered not just for the chaos, but for how it shaped the future of professional basketball.